Oh yeah, I haven't played this song with a band for maybe 25 years, you know. And I hope I can remember the song that I wrote with my old co-leader, Barry Finnerty, great guitar player. And we wrote this song together. We played it on AFN radio. All right. How you doing, guys? Good to see you. All right. They're beautiful. We've got some friends who came in from the Mesa. Fantastic. How was it at the Mesa today? It was good? That's beautiful. All right. Yeah. Origato gozaimasu. Nice to see you. Yeah. You know, we played this live on AFN radio. And I was telling you about AFN radio. And I was telling these young guys that I met in the hotel. They were working the hotel, these young guys, you know. I was telling them about a gig that we played here in Swollen Noisig in '92, you know. And they were looking at me kind of funny. And I said to him, what year were you born? And he said, I was born in '91. I said, and he's looking at me like, I was 1 year old then, Grandpa. But here in Noisig, we did this live on AFN radio. We haven't played this together live, I don't think, ever since we did it on the radio. We're going to try to do it for you now. This is on my first album, and it's got two names. It's called New Funk. It was new 25 years ago, you know. New Funk, and we call it Hip Hop Chilies, and it goes like this. I feature the rhythm section here. All right, 1, 2, 3. Giovanni, go leave. I'll get it out, get a coffee for you. Yeah, Giovanni. How's that? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with a very special friend of mine, and not only a friend of mine, but a friend of a lot of musicians. He's the former longtime president of the Australian Music Association, and it all started right here, Bernie. This is Bernie Cappucciano of Bernie's Music Land. And welcome back to Frankfurt for the, I don't know how many times, Bernie.
39th time, John. 39
wow.
times.
39 times. I've been
41 years.
Yeah, I've been trying to catch up with Bernie. I'm only 33 years, you know.
You're a junior, youngster.
Yeah, right.
Quite young, yeah. That's
yeah.
Right. Yeah, we all
but this is where it all started. And Bernie, he's a longtime Hammond organ man, amongst other things. He's also very well known for promoting the old style music stores with piano lessons and all ages. And you have social events, Bernie, and why don't you tell the folks out there the concept of Bernie's Music Land?
Oh, thank you, John. Well, I was fortunate that I started selling Hammond in 1976. I loved Hammond before that, in the 1960s, with the Leslie speakers and so forth. And then in 1977, I started my own company, Bernie's Music Land, and found that the idea of teaching in store, having programs in store, social club, we have a Bernie's Music Club, and we run programs. We try and have one major artist each month. We also have players' afternoons where people come and play. They love that with that, because our staff are quite well-trained musicians, so they teach and train at the same time. So that's part of the music club. Visiting artists, the lessons themselves, concerts. We also have a small concert venue in the store. The store is about 1,400 square metres, or about 15,000 square feet in the American terms. So we've got plenty of space, and we enjoy having people coming along, because we find that, of course, if they play the bigger instruments, they want to buy them. And particularly with the organ and with the Hammonds, we started in 1977. Bernie's Music Land with Hammond was our first line, and still is our major line. We started distribution in 1993. That's right. I'm confusing a little bit. When our distributor in Australia closed down and we took over the distribution. We were very happy. I met Mr. Manji Suzuki in 1991 when he came to sign the deal with Noel Crabb in Sydney, and I was very fortunate there. So we found this with Hammond particularly, and also we sell Johannes organs, we sell Schimmel, beautiful pianos. We find with high-end product that involving the customers along in the store environment still is so important, because they like to be able to try and have the nourishment and the coaching, I suppose is the word too, John.
Well, that's great. So you have a lifetime bonding with the musicians, and they discover music and the love of music and the social aspect of it at Bernie's, and Bernie gives the young players, everybody who purchases an instrument in his store gets a Bernie bear, and we have a Bernie bear, and he's very popular with my girlfriend's grandson. He sees that Bernie bear, he wants to get one too. So we're gonna have to get him hooked up with one of your instruments and one of your bears, But
please do, John.
I was introduced to Bernie by our good friend Michael Meyer-Falkenstein, who's a fantastic musician, and he knows every organ player, not only in Germany, Switzerland, Austria, and Czech Republic, but also in USA, because everybody who comes touring through here, he has to help them get an organ to play on their concerts. And so that was our original meeting. But as it turned out, because the world of organs is so small, in the world is small, but especially in the organ world, everybody is somehow interconnected. And we found out that we have a mutual longtime friend going way back, and of course I'm talking about
Glenn Derringer. Yeah.
Glenn was
Tell
my
us a little bit
inspiration.
about how you
Well,
know Glenn.
I haven't spoke to Glenn for many years, but when I was first in retail, because I was originally working in accounting and banking, so my first part of my life was not music retail. But when I started music retail, I was offered a managership with a public company called the Brashes Group, and we sold Wurlitzer organs there. And Glenn actually visited Australia, demonstrating the Wurlitzer organ in 1974.
Wow.
Yeah, this is 1974, and we got to know great friends. We followed Glenn for a number of, he did 2 visits, and I also went to America in 1978 and met with him. But he, particularly in 1979, we followed him to Birmingham in England for a convention where he launched the Wurlitzer 950, one of the best organs ever made, one of the best, magnificent. And Glenn was the demonstrator.
Like a spaceship.
Yeah, like a spaceship. And his album had the Aquarius album. And so he was a great inspiration, Glenn. His lovely style.
He's an inspirational figure.
He was very inspirational to me.
Is,
yes,
really, yeah.
yes. So fond memories. And I haven't seen him. I'd love to see him again if I get a chance. But he's amazing.
moved to Chicago
And of course,
now.
is he in Chicago? Good.
Yeah, Glenn, he really, well, Glenn, if it wasn't for Glenn, I probably wouldn't be here. So,
There we are. We've got
that's
his fault.
And once
For both
again,
of us.
the connection came through Michael and his father, Klaus,
Right, okay.
So, I've been visiting this fair, the Musikmesse. By the way, I want to tell everybody out there, this Musikmesse is one of the most important music events in the entire world. And I've been coming here since 1987. Bernie predates me on that. Michael has been coming here since he's 10 years old, So we want to encourage everybody, if you're connected in the retail, the wholesale, the manufacturing, designing of instruments, whatever your connection is to it, come to the Musikmesse. It's called a messe, and it is a messe. It's a little bit of a mess, So because it's all here, So Frankfurt is a fantastic location. It's really the center of Europe in a way, because you can take a train from here to Moscow or anywhere.
It's great for flights as well.
We meet everybody here from all over. We just had a very beautiful meeting with our friends, the Suzukis. And the Suzuki folks are the ones who make wonderful new age Hammond organs that sound like the old original organ, which is unbelievable in itself, because they tried to make that happen with synthesizers and all types of copycat Hammond organs that never really got it, but they got their research and development people on the project. And Mr. Ono, Hiramitsu Ono, he's my hero. That's why I say, because he came up with the first ones, and he also had his hands in the last ones. Now, I saw a review recently where they came to your shop in Bernie's shop. Bernie's Musicland is just outside of Melbourne in Ringwood in Victoria, right?
Well, it's actually it's a Melbourne suburb.
Part of Melbourne.
Yeah, but it's 20 kilometres due east.
You say
of the
Melbourne
city.
or
Melbourne?
Melbourne, yeah, Melbourne. So I saw a magazine review about the SKX.
Yes.
From Rob G. Mm-hmm. And who's Rob?
Well, Rob G. actually works at a competitor store, but he does the reviews for the Australian Musician. Yeah, nice. Certainly quite a nice or proficient.
Yeah, that was a great review. So we encourage everybody to check out the new organs. They're manufactured by Suzuki, but it's the real Hammond organ. And in the old days, we used to have to take the Leslie speakers and hot rod them. Now you can get them right out of the box, literally. Hot rodded already, because they have something like 300 watts of solid state power with a tube preamp, and it sounds like the old thing, and it's got plenty of.
You don't stand in front of it, John.
Yeah,
it can hurt your.
It can be a little bit
you've got
dangerous.
To stand to the side. It can be dangerous. That's right.
And Bernie not only does the Hammond organs, he does the big church organs, and he does grand pianos and upright pianos. And he does trade-in business, and you have a museum collection
Amazing
of your
collection.
own. Yeah, so
40 years of collection.
if you're going to Australia, you got to make Bernie's Music Land one of your stops, you know. And
Please do.
Bernie has
Be great.
also been a long-time visitor to the NAMM show.
Oh, NAMM's
And not so long ago, you had some visitors from NAMM down in Australia.
Well,
right?
we did an amazing project in Australia with Dan Del Fiorementi from the history section of NAM, where we interviewed 50 Australians.
Wow.
And it was obviously a long project. It took over 2 weeks, and it was fabulous. The interviews have been all. It's a great program. That history program.
I want to say Bernie was the recipient of a very special award for this work and as historian work. And you have your own oral history as well, which is fascinating. So you're, of course, well deserved to get that award.
It was more than an honor.
And Bernie is a big part of the NAMM family. And here in Frankfurt right now, Joe Lamont, the president, CEO of NAMM, is here or was here the other day. I don't know. Maybe he's
not
back
here
on
today,
the move.
but he's on the move. But
we were
he
lucky
was here
to have
yesterday, and
to have Joe and Bernie at our gig the other night, and
fabulous.
Joe Lamont sat in on drums with our band here. So
fantastic.
That was a lot of
fun. It was a lot
huh?
of fun. Yeah. That's an important part of the Messe as well. I think all of the events that are around the Messe are quite amazing.
Yeah.
Like the Jazz Keller that John and your fabulous guys. Peter on saxophone, Giovanni on drums, and Joe Berger on the guitar. Joe is legendary. If you haven't heard Joe Berger, you've got to hear. I think at least once in a lifetime, you must hear Joe Berger and John together. The synergy's fabulous. But that was a great night.
Yeah,
Tuesday.
that was of all the years we've been doing, that was one of the top nights. And having you in the house, Bernie, really made it extra special. It's always great to have you here. You know, whenever I see you walk in the place, it just lights up the whole room. You know.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure.
And now Bernie has quite a large family, and they're all into the music, and some of them are helping run Bernie's Music Land, and everybody comes together there for these social events and the monthly concerts, and we hope that the Australian Music Association will start doing some conventions again. The last one I went to was with you on Gold Coast,
the Gold Coast,
and that was incredible.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Bernie is the best tour guide. He took us on a tour there that was unbelievable. And I also always say, the Bernie Cappuccino, folks, Bernie is the man with the plan. If there's no plan, Bernie will make one. He literally sits down with a blank piece of paper and a pen and draws up a plan, and that's the plan. And you know, from thin air, you make a plan, and then you execute it, Bernie. It's incredible. I really got to hand it to you. You know, I'm really thank you for including me in so many things, and so it's great to have you here. So how much longer are you traveling? Any place?
I'm traveling
from here?
to London tomorrow, and then to Singapore on Wednesday, and I get home on Friday morning.
All right.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a long trek home. But I do love coming here, particularly being with John. What you do, John, is fabulous for the industry. You're a legend as well. John's not just a great musician and a player, but what he does is he brings many people together, and I think the industry needs more of that. And John, thank you for that. Because
thank you very much.
And so I'm looking forward to being home, but I'm glad I came, and I'm glad that I was able to be here at the Messe and enjoy your company and Jen's and all the people here. I think music is so important now. I call it the medicine of the mind. We live in the century of the mind. By the end of this century, most physical diseases will be healed and medicine will happen, but the mind is the one that needs the work. And by playing music, you can see John when he plays, it's so good for your mind, isn't it, John? It relaxes, and as audience, it's good for our mind. So please, John, keep that up, and please, all you people there, please keep playing in some way. Let your mind evolve, create music, because through creation you can help. But we say use it or lose it in Australia. I suppose you say that there. But we have to keep our minds active, and music's a wonderful, wonderful way to do it. I have many stories, and perhaps you can read my book one day where I talk about some the trauma and then fixing trauma through music. But this is not trauma here at the Mesa. This is great fun, and I hope that we'll get many people here in the future as well. Thank you, John.
Well said, Bernie. Thank you very much. It's been a big honor, folks. Bernie Cappucciano from Bernie's Music Land. Look him up on the internet. And I want to tell you that there's no apostrophe in Bernie's.
That's right.
So it's Bernie's all over the world, right?
May I mention our wonderful team? You mentioned our family before, and it is a family business. My wife's been with the business from 6 months after we started, so that's 42 years ago. My daughter Michelle is very active, and we hope her 2 little sons will come into the business later on. They're now learning violin and drums and things. They love playing music. But we've got a great team too. We've got some wonderful guys, Craig, Lester.
Lester's been with you a long time,
Yes. So it's people, and that's what music's about. So, and you're special people. Thank you so much, John.
Thanks a lot, Bernie.
Thank you.
Okay, see you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.